Hi, everybody. Joe Chaffee here. Weather in 5 days in 5 minutes on this Thursday, the 3rd of August, and a noticeable increase in humidity, but it's still tolerable out there for the most part. But those dew points are going to continue to climb, and we are certainly going to feel it tonight and tomorrow, both in the way that the temperatures don't fall tonight, but sort of getting used to these cool nights. Well, that sort of came to an end this morning to an extent, and more so overnight into tomorrow morning. On the surface map, we are looking at what's left of the high, which is now offshore, and our winds have turned more southerly, or in some cases even south-southeast, bringing in some Atlantic moisture. The dew points have climbed up into the 60s, and the temperatures making it into the 80s. So the next weather front is still back in Wisconsin and Minnesota, but it will make its way eastward tonight and tomorrow. Meanwhile, across the south, we have this stalled out frontal boundary, and there's a little ripple in the upper atmosphere that's moving along, and that's creating a lot of clouds from Virginia down into South Carolina and northern Georgia. You can see the lightning strikes here that are occurring with an area of downpours and thunderstorms that's moving southeastward. And that's the key for the Northeast, is that this moisture is moving southeast. It's not moving northward. So we don't have to worry about that. So it'll be a matter of what that front can generate when it comes through tomorrow. And ahead of it today, starting to see a couple of pop ups here and there in the Northeast. We'll take a look, and they're mainly in upstate New York and in northern New England. There's one or two tiny blips on the radar locally. Then you go further south and you see this larger area of rain and some heavier rains in South Carolina showing up in the yellows, and in the reds in northern Georgia. We're seeing some thunderstorms there, and an east-west line of thunderstorms moving southeastward across Alabama, approaching Birmingham, and we're even seeing a couple of severe thunderstorm warnings popping up while this is moving southeastward. That radar is as of 3 p.m. Eastern Time, so if you're looking this on a replay later this evening, go to weather.gov to get the latest information in your area regarding any severe weather. And there will be some tonight in the Central Plains from eastern Colorado eastward into Kansas. We have an enhanced risk for severe weather, and that does not come with tornado risk. It's mainly winds of 65 knots or higher, a 30% chance of that, and also hail, 15% chance that we could see some hail. Also, the marginal and slight risk extend southeastward from there in through southern Missouri and southeastward into northern and western Georgia and the northern half of Alabama. In the northeast, we've got a marginal risk up into upstate New York with a slight risk in the areas just east of Lake Ontario, and that extends back over into eastern Michigan. Now, for tomorrow, Friday, we're looking at a marginal to slight risk from, let's call it, central Pennsylvania northeastward up into parts of northern New England, with the slight risk encased inside it, north central and northeastern PA, just north of northern New Jersey, but it is in the Catskills and the middle and upper Hudson Valley, and points northeast into southern Vermont and a small portion of New Hampshire and western Massachusetts. And from this, we have tornado risk that is generally less than 2%. And then as we move on to Saturday, the first day of the weekend, nice big hole of no thunderstorm activity in the eastern Great Lakes and down into the mid-Atlantic states and through much of the Northeast except for Maine. And in the southeast, we've got general thunderstorms with a marginal to slight risk from the Central Plains to the Mississippi and Missouri River valleys, and that extends that marginal risk eastward into central Illinois. We do have some flash flood issues possible. A marginal risk to today in upstate New York with whatever thunderstorms form there. A slight risk indicated from southeastern Missouri down into Georgia with that area of rain and thunderstorms moving southeastward, and two areas of slight risk, one in the Central Plains, the other one extends back up into the northern Rockies. And for tomorrow, as that cold front heads eastward, we're looking at a marginal to slight risk from northeastern Pennsylvania and the northern half of New Jersey, northeastward into New England, and also a marginal risk in parts of the southeast and Gulf states northwestward, where it becomes a slight risk up into the northern plains. So some areas indeed are going to see some heavy rains over the coming days. In the northeast, the next 7 days, we're looking at 3/4 of an inch to an inch and a half. It's convective, so locally, some places could see double those amounts. Also seeing a half to 3/4 of an inch in the coastal southeast, across from Georgia over into Mississippi. Then you start getting areas of an inch and a half plus that go northwestward from there up into Iowa, southern Minnesota, and Wisconsin, and back up through the Dakotas. It's a fairly straightforward forecast and outlook because these weather fronts are moving along. So that's good. It means that we'll maybe get warm and humid for a day or so ahead of it. Then we'll be warm and maybe a little less humid behind it when the fronts go by. And no really super hot weather to deal with. We've got, again, some scattered showers and some thunderstorms this evening in the Northeast, more numerous in northern New York, northernmost Vermont, New Hampshire. That area of rain in the southeast starts to move into South Carolina and gradually peters out overnight and shifts to the coast by tomorrow morning. And then as the cold front approaches tomorrow, we'll have some downpours and thunderstorms that'll be around for the first part of the day. And then in the afternoon, we could see them be a bit more numerous as the front moves on through. And that's the key here because the front does move through. And Saturday and Sunday both look like nice warm days. There'll be some break in the humidity, but not like what we just experienced. And the next weather system, you see it there in Wisconsin, begins to move northeastward, and that'll probably bring in some showers and thunderstorms around for Monday. I think Monday we could have some severe weather risk with this. We'll see what the Storm Prediction Center does with it. And then just looking at the humidity, we'll look at the dew points. You basically want to see dew points under 60 in order to be truly comfortable. You start to get into the 60s, it starts to become a little uncomfortable. And when you get into the 70s, everybody's miserable. And you see what happened from earlier this week with this big area of green covering areas from the Mississippi River eastward to New England and southward down into the southern Appalachians. Well, that, of course, now is going away today as the dew points are climbing. And then tomorrow we'll see dew points in the 60s with the approaching cold front. Doesn't really get up to 70, so that's good. And then the front goes by, and we get a shot of drier air that comes in for Saturday. Again, not as robust as what we saw. And Sunday as well. Looks like it'll be on the comfortable side. But by Sunday evening and Sunday night, those dew points start to climb back up ahead of the next cold front. And Monday looks like it's going to be a very humid day. And again, we'll see if there's going to be some severe weather risk. I think there is the possibility that we could see that come Monday. Tropics still remain pretty quiet. Really didn't see anything standing out in some of the medium and long range models. We'll be talking about that and the long range and the short range as we head toward the weekend tonight on the Joe and Joe Weather Show at 7:35 p.m. Eastern Time. So be sure to tune in.